everybody, Mike Fifer, Fifer Hobby Supply once again. This will be update 85. I think it's 85. If it's not, I'll correct it in the text up above. But anyway, I think it's 85. What I'm going to do is show you, Gavin and I last weekend went to the regional NMRA convention. It was a little sad. New Mexico hosted it, and there were only 3 New Mexicans there. I personally apologize to some of the people that were there, or all the people that were there, the men and their wives who attended the convention from other states, because it just appalled me that we host it and only 3 of us show up there. I thought it was pretty disgusting. And the little convention was kind of poorly attended in general. But that being said, Gary Myers, who is the man who was in charge of getting it all going and putting it together, did an absolutely fantastic job. Even though there was only 33 people at the convention, everybody was great. All the people were nice. There were clinics. There was plenty of stuff to do. There were clinics every day. Gavin and I went to every clinic except the pizza box one, because he and I have both been to several of those. But all the clinics were good. The guys who gave the clinics were outstanding. The information was great. The train show, which was actually separate from the convention, it was at the balloon field, which is only, less than a quarter of a mile away probably. The train show that they connected with the convention was absolutely fantastic. I have a lot of still pictures, but I'm not going to bore you with those. It's just pictures of me and Gavin roaming around in there. But they had several layouts, a lot of O scale, a lot of HO scale, and a ton of N scale, which is always surprising when we go up there and attend that train show. It's not always connected with the convention. But they combined the two. It was all in all a good thing. Gavin and I had a lot of fun. One afternoon, the afternoon they did the pizza box thing, Gavin and I didn't have much to do. We were thinking about what to do. There's an Amtrak stop. I'm not an Amtrak. I'm sorry. A rail runner stop right down from the hotel. It's about a quarter of a mile also. Gavin was looking at his phone. He said, it's supposed to be there in 25 minutes or whatever. So I said, well, let me go to the restroom. I went to the restroom, came back out. It was like 18 minutes till it was supposed to be there. We got in the truck. We went out and got in the truck, drove down there, parked the truck, stood there for about probably no more than 5 to 10 minutes. We rode from the north side of Albuquerque all the way down to Belen. Of course, it got dark on us, but that's beside the point. So we didn't see too much. But the train ride was fabulous. Got down there. By the time we got down there, most everybody had gotten off, because everybody was coming on that train was coming back from Santa Fe. So in Albuquerque, most of them got off. But we got off the train. They were there. They stayed there for about 15 minutes. We watched a couple of trains getting ready to go west out of the Belen yard. We saw a maintenance away truck going out ahead of us. Ahead of us being the rail runner. Going towards Albuquerque. We just saw a lot of cool stuff right there where the terminal is. We didn't walk over to the yard. It was too dark and we didn't have enough time. But let me tell you this. That ride from Albuquerque, from the north side of Albuquerque to Belen, and I don't know how far that is. It's a good ways. $4, 2 people, 2 directions. It's unbelievable how cheap it is to ride the thing. And it's a beautiful train. All the amenities you want in there. But anyway, I'd like to shout out to the engineer that we spoke to. I would like to shout out to the conductor that we spoke to and his helper, and even the security guy. The security guy that was on the train was a young man, and pardon me for this, but he looked like a gangbanger. But when we got to Berlin and we talked to him, he was extremely nice, extremely helpful. We asked him how long we would be there. He got out his phone, he looked up the schedule, and then he said, we're supposed to leave at 5:40. I think it was 5:40. He said, but hang on one second. He dialed up the engineer and asked the engineer if that was correct, and the engineer told him, yeah. So he went above and beyond. The guys were real nice on the train. The train's beautiful. It's extremely cheap to ride. It's very quick getting from point A to point B. It runs about 79 miles an hour and makes, I think, from Berlin to Albuquerque, makes about 5 stops. And the stops average about 4 minutes long, 5 minutes long. So anyways, that being said, we had a good time doing that. We had some great food, went to a little cafe that Robin and I had been to called Oak Tree Cafe right near the balloon field. It's a little tiny place. Absolutely, and I'm not a food guy, but absolutely the most fantastic sandwiches that I've ever had. What I'm getting at is everything went good. Gavin and I loved the trip. We had a good time, and what I'm going to show you is he and I both pretty much, there wasn't very many entries. Don't think that there was 1,000 entries and we did this, but there was probably about 20 to 22 entries in the contests, and very few in each category, obviously. I believe Gavin brought 7 locomotives and a car. And he wound up getting, I think, 3 first places on locomotives. One of those may have been on the car. I think he got 3 second places, and I believe he got 2 third places in different categories. And they had different categories that applied to different things, even though he had locomotives and a car. There was like a best of show, popular vote, this and that. Anyway, so he wound up getting 7 ribbons and a plaque. I don't have them here, obviously, but I will show you the awards that I won. And what was really nice at the convention is these were all older guys. I would say that 80% of them were master model railroaders, and so many of them came up to him and told him what a fabulous job he does on his work. And one of the judges, who was judged for an extremely long time, came up to him and actually told him that that's the most fabulous paint work he's ever seen anybody do in his whole time in the NMRA. So it was really encouraging for Gavin, really encouraging for me to see them treat Gavin like that. The plaque that he got was for the best of show under 18 years old, I believe. But anyway, he was ecstatic. I was ecstatic. We felt bad that here we are, there's only a gentleman by the name of Dick Hiss was the other one that was up there with us. He's in the NMRA here and cruises. But we felt kind of guilty that we took almost the whole pile of awards. But there were some other nice awards that were given out to the guys that were there. But we kind of felt like hoarders. But nevertheless, it was nice. It was a nice show. It was part of it was popular vote, and they did have a judged contest. And Gavin and I did well in both popular and the judged. So instead of me rambling on, I'll show you the awards I got, and then I will show you some of the things I got, tell you about what Gavin got a little bit, and kind of just show you. I didn't get much done before we went up there, but I'll show you what I've got going on over here. And I hope you enjoy this rambling video again. Okay, here you go, everybody. I got kind of a little pointer here, and I don't want to get in the way of the camera, but I will try and explain what's going on here. This Route 66 award they had, because every time they have a convention in a particular state, they always have an award for the models in particular categories that best represent something within that state. Well, in our state, it happened to be Route 66. And as luck would have it, that it was unintentional because you guys saw me build this module. But everything on there is related to Route 66. It's no real place, but everything on there is marked with Route 66. And so I wound up winning first place for the Route 66 part of the contest here, which was nice. And then this is a first place for T-Track module, which was sort of a no-brainer, and I feel bad about it because there was no other T-Track modules. But it is what it is, and everybody liked it enough to give me that award, so I feel like it probably deserved that award anyway, even if there was more, unless they were good, really good. This Richard Sons Award, he's an NMRA executive that passed away, and they decided to name the award after him. And this one here is Best Presentation of New Mexico Railroading. And when I took my book with me on how I built the caboose there, and that caboose, and I told them that caboose still sits in Socorro, New Mexico. It's been graffitied over a few times. You guys may know the story of it if you've seen me talk about it before. But everything on that caboose, every piece of graffiti is done by hand and done exactly like the locomotive pictures I took of it probably at least 10 years ago. So it got the New Mexico Railroading Award. It also got first place in the caboose category, which was another no-brainer because there wasn't any other cabooses. But there again, I think it would have had a good chance based on the awards that it got anyway. This last one, and I think you guys have seen this locomotive, the 2229. I know it's kind of far away there. But this locomotive here I saw in Las Cruces likely about 10 or 12 years ago. Took a bunch of pictures of it and duplicated that locomotive, and you can't see it from there, and I'm not going to bother showing it to you, but there's a lot of detail parts on that locomotive. Hoses, wipers, lights, the headlight was moved to the nose, a filler was put in, lift rings, sunshades, mirrors, you name it, it's probably on that locomotive. And that, Gavin had I think he had 7 locomotives there, and even though his were deserving, it came down to, we filled out paperwork for the NMRA contest portion of it. So even though this caboose got a first place and there was only one, it was judged by NMRA rules. Not rules, but what they evaluate models at in a full-size contest. So really you're adhering to all the rules they have within a contest, whether there's other contest members or not. So I don't know how many points this got. I have a paper on it. I don't know how many points the locomotive got. But nevertheless, there were 2 other steam locomotives there, and all of Gavin's diesel locomotives, which he got awards for paint and stuff as well. But I believe mine got the popular vote. So anyway, or one of his might have got the popular vote, and the rest of his got votes for other things, paint, whatever. But anyway, we just hauled back a lot of stuff. But anyway, those are the awards that we got up there at the show. And that's probably enough about talking about the awards. What I'll do now is just kind of show you what I was able to buy at the train show itself. Okay, gang. What we're looking at here is a bunch of green masking tape. No, that we're not looking at the green masking tape. These are 2 Atlas Trainman Shorty passenger cars. I believe they're about 60 foot instead of 89 foot heavyweights. I have been searching high and low for a long time to come across these. And I happened to go to one of the vendors, and I was looking through his stuff, and lo and behold, there was a baggage combine and a tail car. And I thought those two cars in conjunction will be a perfect setup for a local passenger train on the ACT. Okay, now what you're looking at is a Centralia Golden State Limited, which is a Rock Island train, for those of you who may not know. And this is the Golden Banner. And I just happened to see it at one of the vendor booths there again and said, oh, look, I told Gavin, oh, look, another Golden State Centralia car. I said, I have a, you guys know I think you guys know I have a Golden State Limited with a bunch of Centralia cars on it already, a couple of Walthers silver Rock Island cars, and I think a Concord tail car. And I told Gavin, I said, I guess I should probably buy that since it's Centralia for my train. And I said, I'll probably have you re-letter it. Well, I probably have 6 or 7 Centralia cars, but I went ahead and bought this one, and I got home to see if I had it. And wouldn't you know, of all the cars I had, this was not a duplicate. So I was glad to get this one. It'll be a great addition to the Rock Island train, and I was just totally shocked and amazed that I did not have the car already, because these are rare as hen's teeth, and I was kind of glad to come across it, and even more glad that I didn't have it. Okay, this was one of my other purchases, and it is an Intermountain car. I don't ever recall Intermountain doing this. I don't know how long ago this car was done. I didn't care. I loved the paint job. And I kind of like these crazy paint jobs that go on these cars because they're beautiful cars to add into one that's nothing but Southern Pacific, Santa Fe, Union Pacific in boxcar red or brown or whatever it happens to be. So I bought this because Missouri Pacific, I kind of like their logos and stuff, and I just thought the car was very decorative, very good looking, and it'll make a nice addition to any train that I have. Okay, this is the next car I got. Obviously, it's a 40-foot DNRGW gondola. I thought it would be a wonderful addition to all the other cars, Southwestern road cars, that I have to serve my scrap business. So this car is likely destined to be heavily weathered and be part of my few gondolas that I have that will serve in and out of the scrap yard. I don't need a lot of, I've got a ton of box cars and I've got a ton of tank cars. I got a ton of everything, but I do not have a whole lot of gondolas. So I like to kind of mix it up with roads on the gondolas because the scrap would be either going out to somewhere or coming in from somewhere. So they wouldn't be like unit trains and so forth. But I just thought it was a beautiful car. It's a Trainworks car. I don't know how old it is either, but it's a very extremely well done car as well. There's a lot of detail on it that you might be able to see a little bit of it. It's got very nice thin stirrups. It's got Microtrains trucks on it already. But anyway, that's one that I saw, caught my eye, and I bought. Okay, we're just going to kind of zip through this stuff. These Athearn trucks are a little bit hard to find because they're really super nicely detailed. And I realize that this truck has Rio Grande on it, but those are appliques on there, and I can peel those off and I can get the lettering off the truck. So I could use it for just about anything, but the detail on them is just great, and they really fit my era, and I like them. So I bought that. Hang on one second. I know that this is not spectacular, but I just happened to see it hanging on a rotary display. Of course, the copper wire is a little bit too big on it, and I'll replace that with Easy Line. But it's a really nice pipe load for a gondola or for a flat car. And it's just, it didn't cost, obviously, it didn't cost much. And most of the stuff was obviously less than what it's marked. But that's another thing I got. The other thing I picked up was these. And why? Because they were in a junk bin, and obviously they've been opened and used before, but somebody put them in a thing, and I paid in a little box, and I paid $10 for 2 cars. You can't hardly go wrong there. So 2 classic Metalworks cars. Now, the interesting part of the story, another interesting part of the story I will tell you is there was a coin convention at the same hotel down the hall from where we were. Gavin and I were meandering through the coin display, and everybody in there had coin vests on that had the name of their coin group on it, and they all had hats on that had a little gold horny toad on them. So me and horny toads, I had to ask them, how come you have a horny toad on your hat? Well, it turns out there's an older gentleman there who sells coins and buys coins, but his main business is carving and casting his own pewter horny toads. And he makes them in all sizes, and they're prototypically correct to the particular horny toad he is modeling. And I know a lot of you wouldn't know anything about the differences between horny toads, and neither did I. But this particular horny toad here that I'm showing you is a variety that we have here where we live. Now, what I didn't know about, and you see the 2 rows of spikes on his side? That's intentional because he's the only one that has them. Now, this one is a prototypical color if you found one on a forest floor or something. They are, and I didn't know this about horny toads, but they are chameleon-like. They take up the color of whatever they're sitting on. And I have a color photograph of me holding 2 horny toads that were mating, oddly enough, in the middle of the road one day. And I picked them both up, and they are totally gray. The gray on this guy's legs. But anyway, those are just facts about horny toads. But I saw these. The guy makes them, sells them. Super nice guy, very friendly. Told a bunch of jokes and stuff. Gavin and I both enjoyed talking to the man. And what I've never seen before is there are types of horny toads that give live birth. There are also types of horny toads that give birth by egg. And I have never, in all the time that I've been collecting horny toads, seen somebody that was selling a horny toad coming out of an egg. So I had to buy it. So anyway, that's a new horny toad. That horny toad there is pewter, and he does all the painting airbrush on there, and it's just a fabulous job. So that was my horny toad purchase. You guys will see it up on the wall. These both have pins on them, so I will likely stick them into the sheetrock somewhere. Now I'm going to show you one last thing. It is a BNSF, or a Santa Fe, actually, police hard hat. Now, I don't know when you'd find another one of these, but I just thought it was pretty dang unusual. This one here still has the lining inside of it and everything, and it was, I won't tell you what I paid for it, doesn't matter. But I told the guy I'd take it, and it wasn't a lot of money. But I told the guy I'd take it, hang it on my wall just because I thought it was dang cool. And when I did that, he whipped out another one from under the counter that was also Santa Fe police that had a silver emblem, reflective emblem on it, but it didn't have a liner in it. And he says, if you're buying that one, you should take this one. So I gave the other one to Gavin to hang on his wall in his train room. I just thought it was darn cool. I need something else to hang on the wall like a hole in the head, but I just couldn't pass that up. Because if you look at it real close, that's a That's a very cool emblem. So, that being said, that's all I got. Um, Let me turn this around and I'll just briefly speak to you about what Gavin got and tell you another interesting story. So, even though Grandpa has a hobby shop, he's always looking for things. He had a bunch of locomotives that he has built buildings and stuff and weathered buildings, and he knows a lot of guys on YouTube and stuff, and he communicates with a lot of guys on YouTube, and he has traded buildings and locomotives and cars that he's weathered and either just weathered or built or just has gotten from somebody or whatever the case may be. And he brought a whole box of that stuff with him in order to try and get one of these vendors to trade things to him or for him. So the vendor where I got the Missouri Pacific car and the DNRGW car, we've seen them at that show before. They travel around in a motorhome, and the guy just has literally a ton of rolling stock locomotives, just a lot of N-scale stuff. He's got a 10 by 10 booth, and I mean, there's not a place to set anything. And all of his cars are organized in boxes by the railroad. Anyway, to get on with it, I bought my two cars there. Gavin was looking for, he wants to build a coal train on his layout. And his era, since it's above my era on the ACT goes up to about 1960. His starts at about 1970, 1980, and goes forward to 1990, maybe early 2000. I don't know. He has a range, and his layout, my layout, depicts the Albuquerque Carnuel Tijeras, which originally would go through Albuquerque up to the other side of the mountains, up to Santa Fe, down to Mountain Air. You guys may have seen the map. Down to Mountain Air, cut from Mountain Air on the Santa Fe down to Belen, turn at Belen, and go all the way down to El Paso, share track with Santa Fe, and serve those areas on the other side of the mountains behind east of Albuquerque that aren't served by rail. That's my area, and my time goes up to about 1960. Well, when he built his layout, he was fanatical about the ACT. He's always operated on the ACT. So when he is designing or has designed his layout, and when we talk to people at the shows and things, he explains that he's also ACT, but he is the modern ACT from about the 70s through the early 2000. And what he depicts on his layout and the scenery that he does and the era of locomotives will be in that time frame, and it will be an extension that took off from Las Cruces to Tucson. And it would be serving the mines, all the stuff down towards El Paso again, still, and all the stuff going on a new extension of the ACT that would have been built if it existed, that would go serve the mines outside of Deming, all the industry along the way, and all the way to Tucson. And I just think that's pretty darn cool that he had that kind of imagination to tie our two layouts together. And I'm going to give you guys a little tip here. I don't know if it'll ever come together. He's been working on it for quite some time. But he's been writing an article about my layout and his layout, how he learned from me when he was little, the railroad I do, and then he's going to go on in this article and explain that he got into it because of me, and now he's getting into building his layout as an extension of my fictitious road name. And he and I have discussed it a lot. He'll be winding up, coming over here and taking some pictures of this layout, taking pictures on his new layout, and submit that to probably N-Scale magazine and see if Pam has already expressed interest in wanting to use the article if it ever gets done. But he's been working on that, and we thought it would be a good idea because I don't ever recall in all my years of model railroading any article being written between a grandfather and a grandson sharing the same railroad name on two different layouts. So we'll see if that comes about. It's an interesting idea. I don't know if it's ever going to come together. He gets so involved in building the layout and doing the construction work and all that that I don't know how this is going to work and when he might complete it. And along with that, I might add that when I dropped him off from the convention day before yesterday, we took his stuff inside, and as we were walking out to the garage, he just got his acceptance papers to go to NMSU. They were in the mail. So he's going to be a busy guy, but because he has a layout at home, he'll be at home for 4 years. So at least 4 years. So anyway, that's enough rambling. But I got off the track there. But he was looking for these cars for his coal train. He wanted the Microtrains 3-bay hoppers with loads in Santa Fe. And where I found these cars with the people had all the N-scale stuff, he randomly was looking through there and found, I think, 6 or 7. I think they were put out in a set of 6. But anyway, randomly found 6 in there, pulled them out, set them down, and as he was pulling them out, he was so excited to find them. And then he found a couple other random cars that were by other manufacturers that were the same type of car that would work in the train. And he found a couple of other road names that would fit in the train. But we were just sitting there talking and going back to my Centralia car, not being one I had, not knowing that I didn't have it. He pulled out those 6 cars and he said, yeah, he says, I'm sure they're all same road number, but I can fix that. And he got down and started looking at them. And I was amazed and he was surprised. They were all 6 cars from the 6-car set, and they all had different road numbers. And the guy that was selling them came across them all randomly. So that was the weirdest thing ever. And so he and I were joking the whole weekend about our luck of finding the things we wanted, and the fact that he got the road names he wanted, and I got a car that I didn't have. So I'm going to wrap this up by just showing you what I've done on my passenger overpass. And once again, it's not done, but I did make a little progress. And then we're going to wrap this video up. Okay, so even though you can see that there's tools laying around here because I'm still working on it, you can see some things that I have done. And there's some that you can't see that I will try and zoom in on and maybe show you. You can see that I have the concrete floor of the pedestrian overpass painted and the concrete platforms of it painted in a cement color. You can also see, and let me zoom in on it so you can see. Hold on, give me a minute. Okay, you can see over on the opposite side that I made a cutout and I built a box there that is basically concrete wall. That end of the bridge sits in it, and then you can see, I lost my pointer. I'm disappointed because I lost my pointer, but I'm going to try and get my fat finger in there. You can see right over there that I cut off. This was the part of the center of the bridge that I cut out. I cut a piece off of that and made the walkway that's flat going over there that will have a walkway to it, and there'll be a small parking lot over there and so forth. And that remains to be filled back in with plaster and touched up, and a little passenger. I think what I'll try and put over there is like a little awning type thing over there that the passengers can sit at and rest or wait. And then between there and the hotel will be a small parking lot, and I might wind up having to take out that tree that you see in front of that red car over there to build a small parking lot for people that want to park there and walk across. Anyway, that's where it stands right now. I'm going to zoom in on I'm going to try and zoom in on one other thing and see if you can see it. And I don't think you've noticed it. Okay, I know it's kind of insignificant, but one of the other things that I did was put these little triangles in here so that people didn't climb over and fall off the bridge. I don't know if I can move this camera and talk to you for a second about something else. You guys know, because you've seen them, that I put, let me get my fat hand out of here, that I put these top pieces on here. And I also put the rivet detail on them. And I don't think we're going to get it in the camera, but I think I've talked about it before. But on that big flat piece there, there's also rivet detail on it that you cannot see. And you won't be able to see it until I dry brush the bridge, give it a little bit of weathering and dry brush it. And as I've said it to everybody before, it'll have at least one, if not two stanchions in the middle of it to support that long span. I just haven't gotten there yet. Let me see if I can back out here. Okay, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that one. Because we were gone, obviously a lot of work didn't get done here. Pardon me. One thing I was going to tell you guys, and I think you've heard me say it, that Gavin is building a layout at his house. His dad has allowed him to use almost a third of the garage and a large storage area that's connected to the garage. So he has quite a bit of room. He's making a kind of an H-shaped layout into the room, out of the room, and 2 layers, 2 helix. And I cut some pieces of wood for him, but he's built the whole helix himself. He's done all the bench work himself. He's done all the sub-road bed himself. He's basically done everything himself. Now his dad, and he had some plastic hanging up in the garage for the summer, and I don't know if he bought it or his dad bought it for him, but a window air conditioner. And they taped the plastic around the air conditioner, and it went from the ceiling to the floor. And it was pretty good for him to work on the layout, and he has a desk out there that he does all of his paint work and everything on. But his dad recently gave him permission to build a wall in the garage. So, of course, him and his brother, and I'll get to that in a second, him and his brother got ecstatic over that, and he ran out, bought a bunch of sheetrock, a bunch of lumber and stuff like that, and they started building, him and his brother started building the wall. Never asked me to go over there. He's got some of my tools, he's got some of my saws, chop saws and stuff like that. And but he did it all from looking at YouTube videos. His brother came and wanted to help him. Between the two of them, they've been sawing lumber, put up the wall. And I don't have any pictures of it, but it's impressive. These two kids, one 16, one 17, basically went to YouTube and found out how to be a constructor. It's good to see them using their hands, and they haven't lost any fingers yet. And they've done an extremely good job. The only thing their dad helped them with was putting the lag bolts down into the floor for the base plates. But other than that, they've done all the lumber cutting, all the measuring, all the designing, and it's going to have an accordion door that goes into it. I'm impressed. Maybe he'll do a picture of it someday and put it on his website, but on his YouTube channel, I'm sorry. But anyway, it's very impressive, and he's doing a real good job on the layout, and he's going to have a nice long mainline run. But the bonding between him and his brother is what I was leading to. The two of them, they've been friends all their life, but now they're best friends. And the younger one is getting involved, having Gavin tell him about why he's doing what he's doing and how he's doing it. And Ryan's getting involved in that. And Ryan is now ecstatic and can hardly wait until Gavin gets to the point where they can do dispatching of trains, dumping off cars. The younger one's getting very excited, and he's never really been involved in it. I mean, he's been involved in it, but he's just not been trained crazy. But it's good to see those two young guys really getting into it and doing it, and maybe it's just a grandpa speaking in me. But nevertheless, I guess I should wrap this up, and I thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I just said it, but thanks for watching.